Hey there. I was watching another video this morning and about this is another part that I wanted to get into, but um my battery kind of went out. So I'm starting over a bit. And anyway, so people keep trying to make this issue off of colorism, what I was saying earlier about how people were trying to react towards Lisa Raye as as if she was colorist. And to me, it's weird because it's like, in regards to everything I said in the past, I was trying to set up that to explain. You know, obviously, this person said that they preferred mixed women over black women. And as I said before, Serena Williams is more attractive, obviously, than Halle Berry will ever be. She has a prettier face, prettier body, more feminine body. You get what I'm saying. Um, but at the same time, some people don't prefer black women. Some people prefer mixed women. People prefer white women. Some people don't even prefer either, but they can tolerate one more than the other. Either way. If you look at it though, people always are trying to associate that Lisa Ray is mixed race, or somehow she is a colorist, and she if they keep trying to make a narrative on her being light skinned and basically trying to be where she has no problem with that because I guess she's light skinned to them, which is weird because it's like she's exactly the same, as you can see, as Serena Williams. In fact, if you can look at the photos, you can see Serena Williams is actually lighter in these photos than kind of both of these people. And I included one photo to show you that it's part of her, like, base of her chest. It's actually as well lighter than their bodies. Um, and I just find it weird that they would say she's being colorist when Serena Williams is not any different in complexion to Lisa Raye. Not just that, Lisa Raye is not a mixed woman. Lisa Raye is a black woman. So she's in the same category as Serena Williams, the brown skinned black woman, you know, but she obviously wasn't affected by it, not because she's supposed to be light skinned or she's supposed to be mixed, which, as far as I've looked up, Lisa Ray is not mixed. Lisa Ray is a black woman, and to me, I'm like, you know, people keep trying to make it about colorism, and it's like, no, I think the lady is just a grown up who understands that not everyone prefers her and isn't affected by that. In fact, I mean, like, does she prefer him? Probably not. So why would she care? I mean, like, only the lowest self esteemed individual would really care about some random person's preference. Like, to me, more than anything about this situation is that it seems so desperate to claim colorism on, especially when it comes to Lisa Ray, because Lisa Ray isn't mixed race. Lisa Ray is basically the same complexion as Serena Williams. She is. And, she's not offended probably because she doesn't care what he prefers Is he her husband? No. Then why would she care? There's no reason for her to care, you know? And so for me, it's just like, I don't understand why people have to go and drag people and be upset at people because they're actually grown enough to understand that not everyone prefers them and they don't have to have a fit about it like a low self esteem individual. Now, like I said, the whole part about describing someone as toast is inappropriate. But that didn't have to do with light versus dark. Like, none of this had to do with light versus dark. Everybody involved, nobody was dark skinned and nobody was light skinned. So, how does light versus dark come into play with this whole situation? Only colorism manipulators would make it come into play because they want it to benefit them and they want to paint a certain narrative about colorism existing and things of that nature. But it's not real. It's not a real situation because everybody involved is the same color. Like they probably could share foundations with each other, type of similar complexion. So, I mean, like, how can you tell me that these people are in one way or another colorist, or like that she's colorist because she's okay with the fact that somebody has a preference? Like, that's just weird to be affected by such a thing, in my opinion. I think colorism is a popular claim for people, and people love to claim it, even if it has nothing to do with the conversation. And, even despite the fact that the guy said that he preferred the mixed race woman and the mixed race phenotype of Halle Berry, people ignored it mostly only to say that the word mulatto was racist. But other than that, they didn't actually focus on the fact that he said he preferred mixed women. So it's not about dark versus light. It's more so about racial differences there. Um, to me, I mean, I just thought that that was kind of like outrageous that people were trying to really attack her for her lack of being outraged or lack of being insulted. I don't think people have to be insulted by things like that. Personally, I'm not 40% black and I'm over 50% black. And I do not like just act like I'm upset because some random person said they prefer someone who was less black than me. I wouldn't be offended. Like, is that your man? If it's not your man, I don't think you really have to be concerned to me in that regard. Like I said, the describing black women as toast was the wrong thing, but having an actual preference is just not. Now, I think a bigger issue though is why is it wrong for people to prefer women of any complexion other than dark skinned women? For example, if someone preferred someone like Serena Williams' complexion over someone like Lupita's, why would that be wrong? Why would it be wrong to prefer some? a brown skinned woman's complexion, like Lisa Raye, like, Halle Berry or Serena, you know, why would that be wrong? I mean, plenty of times people think that it's a-okay for men to say that they prefer darker skinned women and chocolate complected women. If men can have a preference towards dark skinned women, they can definitely have a preference away from dark skinned black women. Dark skinned black women aren't the only ones worthy of preference. Every woman deserves someone's preference. So, I mean, there's enough people out there for everyone. Nobody should be shunned for their preference in that regard, because to me it's like, well, there's someone for everyone, so why would we try and act like only dark skinned women can be preferred? The only types of people who think that is because they think in reality nobody prefers dark skinned women, therefore they don't see it as a formidable thing, at least for light skinned women who hold that idea that you can't uplift or have a preference for lighter skinned women or brown skinned women without, having a preference for dark skinned women or something of that nature. Honestly, personally, for me, I would want whoever I'm with to prefer me for my complexion, just like every other feature that I have. My full lips, my four hair, my 4A hair, my short stature, my brown eyes, and so forth. You know, I wouldn't want them to prefer someone else. I think everyone who's looking for a partner doesn't want their partner to prefer other people, even if it is dark skin. That's not really fair to most people who aren't dark skinned to not be the preference for the people that they are interested in. So to me, I'm like, I kind of think that people should have varied preferences other than dark skinned women at times. That's fine. That's meant for someone else. Just like there's plenty of men that love dark skinned women. Because dark skinned women are beautiful and they're very ideal. It shouldn't be forbidden to have a preference for women of other complexions or women of other races even. Not saying that this guy preferred mixed women, as I said before in my previous video. Obviously, this guy was just tolerating them, but I was just referencing someone who would actually prefer mixed women or brown skinned women like Serena Williams or Lisa Raye. That's more my contention. It's just like, why can't a medium complexion person actually be appreciated? Why would that not be acceptable? Especially when most black women in America are medium in complexion. They're not dark skinned. And then on top of it, it's just weird. It was weird earlier about the whole thing with white people preferring whiter features. Like, I think a lot of people having issue with that is like, to me, well, on one channel I saw that. It's like, the only reason you have an issue with that is because you see it that way too. It's just like the whole thing with other things I've talked about. If you aren't a thing and the thing that is that thing prefers what they are and actually values it, and you value it too over yourself, you're going to feel bad because now you don't value yourself and they don't value you. So now you're the odd one out. That's not white people's problem, though. That's your problem because you shouldn't be putting other people's phenotypes over yours. If you feel that you look less than, then maybe you need to go to a therapist, or I don't know what you need to do. But it's nobody's problem that you have an issue with some people actually liking who they are, or liking people who look like them. And I think for me, it's not really a problem to me for because I kind of like see it like I said, I don't prefer very fair skinned men. And I don't see myself as colorist because I prefer men that look similar to me or closer to me, like darker, like Italian or Greek men, over Northern European men. I'm not going to say the same applies. I mean, I'm not going to say that colorism applies to someone who thinks just the same as I do, but they're of a different race. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. If you prefer what's more similar to you, it makes sense. Um, and I feel like generally, like Lisa Raye, maybe she's one of those people that's more so able to, have her own preference and not really concern herself with what white people think because maybe she actually values what she is. And therefore, she's not going to be flustered by the fact that some white people actually prefer people that are white or half white over her. That's why she's not actually affected by it. The people who are affected are the people who basically put the mixed people above them. You see, Lisa Raye might not put mixed people above her, and she's a black woman, period. That's what I feel generally, though, in this whole topic is why do black people value whiteness? And we know why, of course, but it's obviously a problem that black people need to fix. It's not really wrong for someone who is white to actually be attracted to white people or people with white features. It's a problem when you see that as more attractive than yourself or things of that nature. That's what becomes a problem because then you internalize it in yourself because it's already internalized in you. Um, but that's not anyone's fault. Like, what do you want them to do? Hate themselves? Like, they can't, like, that's not going to help anything. I personally wouldn't want to date anyone that hated themselves, regardless of what race they were, actually. But at the end of the day, I just don't understand why it was wrong for Lisa Ray to be candid about the situation and actually be like, for her, it didn't offend her. Why is it wrong for her as a black woman to share her feelings about the matter, considering she is a black woman who is exactly the same complexion or very close to the same complexion Serena Williams is? Why would it be wrong for her as a black woman in basically a similar situation with black features, brown skin, things of that nature, to share her opinion and that she wasn't affected by what he said. Like, I think it would, I think people who have an issue with it were just trying to basically shut her down and make her voice not heard so then basically they can dismiss it and try and still continue the idea of colorism and things of that nature, and also implicate herself into being a part of that whole colorism narrative. Even though if you just looked at the people, you would see that they're all three the same complexion or very close to it. So that's all I really have to say on this. I'll end the video, I guess, at this point. I just had a few things to say on Lisa Raye. Oh, also, I wanted to say, altogether, I mean, like, I really want to know, like, is having no attraction to black people really considered racist? And if so, is it racist to have no attraction to white people if you're another race or that race for that matter? Um, Also, like, is it really colorist to not prefer white people of a certain hue, but only prefer white people of one hue? So, like, if you only prefer dark skinned white people, but not lighter skinned white people, is that really colorist? Because I mean, like, these are the two questions I've asked, and nobody has answered that question. People have ducked, ran, and hid when I asked that question. Like, almost act like I didn't even ask the question. But to me, like, I don't really think that's colorist. I don't consider myself a colorist towards white people. I just see it as, well, what do you expect? I'm a black woman. If I like darker skin, is it really a shock? I mean, I'm darker than all white people. Is it really shocking that I like prefer darker white men? I don't really think so. And I don't really think it's really shocking if a white woman or white man prefers something, some black person that looks lighter or looks more even like white passing for that matter. As I said before, I don't think that that's really a good position to be in as a mixed person with people like that. But, you know, like, I would personally prefer someone who was more into black women who were, similar to my phenotype, but it always seems like people who are into black women always are into like really dark skinned black women. But like I said, I wouldn't want someone I'm interested in to be into dark skinned black women. I would want them to be into me over dark skinned people. I mean, like, I would want them to be interested in my complexion. Like I wouldn't want them to hate my complexion. I'm saying I wouldn't want them to see my complexion as less than dark skinned women. They prefer dark skinned women over me. I'm gonna feel like, well, why are you with me? Why are you like, I don't know, like I feel like you don't really like me for me. Maybe you only like me because I tanned one day, and when it goes away, are you gonna think I'm as attractive? These are the things that I'm gonna think. But anyway, I don't. I mean, like it would be an insecure situation. It's kind of like back to that whole situation with Derek Jackson and his wife, and I talked about that a little bit. But in this case, like I said, Serena Williams and Halle Berry are the same complexion. Lisa Raye is the same complexion, and yeah, with the whole colorism topic, it was just like weird saying that that had to do with colorism when they all are the same color. I think it's more the mindset, white being superior, that is a trigger for some black people because they feel that themselves. So then they get uncomfortable when, like, if white people prefer whiter features. That's just odd, though, to me, because I mean, like, a lot of white people prefer white people anyway. I don't know. But I guess if you see it the same way, white people, about white people, it doesn't really affect you negatively. Like I said, as questions, basically, am I a colorist if I prefer darker white men? And, is it really racist to not be attracted to white people and only attracted to black people? I don't think either of those things apply in either case, white or black. So if you want, comment below and tell me. All right, I'm done. Thanks for listening. Bye. Oh my God, this is burning.